And you are?
I'm Mary. I'm on pay.
Yes, I am an IT practitioner and a systems analyst. I work for the Uganda Bureau of Statistics. That's why I practice my IT. But I also do private IT work.
I work with the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. So we do trade every day. E-commerce is what we do. No, we do commerce every day. So e-commerce is part of the commerce we do.
Great.
Yes, I head the IT department.
Ah, that's beautiful. So indeed, it's a blend of IT and trade, which in turn, of course, we are talking e-commerce for the entire month of September. We're talking e-commerce, and so we are glad that Mary works with a ministry that actually facilitates e-commerce in our country. It's quite interesting. So we are glad that tonight is going to be unique because we'd like to open up this session to each one of us. I know we must have triggered your mind and your thinking about the businesses that you've been doing. Or if you haven't started one, you've been thinking, now that I am equipped with this knowledge or information that I've gotten over the past 4 sessions, I need to do something about it. I remember the last session, Mary saying, why am I still being employed? Why am I still in employment? Because as far as I remember, Daniel, who was our facilitator, and Ricky from Safe Border talked about interesting businesses that they are doing, and were all, spurred on towards starting a business if we haven't yet started, and or improving our processes at the businesses which we are running. So I hope that each one of you who has joined us tonight has started something, if they didn't have it yet, or what you are already doing as your business, you are ready to actually go online. So tonight we'd like to have questions and answers from each one of us. So we'll request that we'll all come off mute and be able to interact more than before. And of course we want to do a quick recap of what we have gone through the entire month of September. There are various topics that we handled right from the start. And maybe we can just do a quick recap and reminding ourselves what exactly were the talking points that we looked at. I will just briefly spell out the 4 topics, and probably Mary, if you recall, for the first topic, you can tell us exactly, not exactly, but in a nutshell what it was all about. Then we can just keep on journeying on until the last topic. And once we are through with that, we'll open this up to each one of us to ask those questions. If you're unable to come off mute, you can simply put it in the chat. And we are glad that we have one of our speakers then, our facilitators, Mrs. Mugabe, Anne Besijiroha. She's here with us, I think. So, and she handled the second topic of the e-commerce series. So we are glad that she's here with us. So anyone that has a question in that regard on business plan and strategy, we have the facilitator who took us through that. So we are glad that Anne, you're online. But just in a nutshell, I'd like to remind us that our very first topic back then, on the 8th of September, was laying the foundations for a successful e-commerce business. And we remember we had Mr. Amos Wekesa taking us through that very interesting topic, and also Madame Evelyn Kasina from Kenya. And they did just a wonderful job on that very topic. The second session, we had e-commerce business plan and strategy. And we are glad that the facilitator is in the house. I will not elaborate, I already introduced her. She's not the speaker tonight, but she is with us. So in case we have any questions around that topic, or we are struggling to come up with to develop our business plans and strategies, she's ready to take on those questions. The third topic then was how to build an online business store. And we had 2 facilitators also for that particular topic. Do I remember all of them?
Yes, we'll try. I'll remind you.
Okay, you'll remind me. And the 4th and last topic that we had was how to launch a profitable online business store, where we had Ricky from Safe Border and also Daniel Miko from Tenge investments. So there we are. We are supposed to do one last topic, which is going to be about the national policies on e-commerce, retail trade, logistics, and industry. And I would like to apologize that it will not come sooner, but rather it will come in the month of November. So we will keep you posted on when we will be doing that topic, because it is very crucial, because it kind of wraps up everything that we've talked about. We have to operate within the law because we are governed by laws within this country. So that will be a very, very important topic that we'll have to discuss, and so we'll keep you posted on what date within November we'll be able to have that very topic. So Mary.
Yes. The first topic.
Yes, the very first one.
Yes, the first topic was on laying the foundation for a successful e-commerce business. The one thing I remember, the one thing I will not forget is who has your money. I remember the speaker asked us to think very hard, to think deeply about who could be having our money, because the truth is somebody has our money somewhere. Somebody has money for our talent, for the products we produce, but we need to be able to find these people. And I remember they told us that e-commerce, like any other business or like any other venture, needs planning. Remember, if you do not plan, then you plan to fail. There's no two ways around it. So the way you plan to build a house, the way you plan to take a journey, the way you plan to throw a party, is how you plan your e-commerce business. And this plan needs to be solid, offline first, and then we can get it online. I remember the lady that talked to us then, Evelyn, I think, said it is important to plan because sometimes you will get rooted. So when you told us about making internet our friend and making having the right partners, and then very importantly for those of us in the e-commerce business, to think about valuing our products, because sometimes we undercut ourselves. We do not value the internet, the time, and everything else that we put into this, and so we end up either selling our services lower or higher. So I remember Evelyn was very particular on that, on thinking about the logistics involved, and then being able to set up our prices, not to do charity, but also not to overprice our products. Because remember, what we've been saying from the beginning, e-commerce is trade. It is simply trade taken online. So you're still competing with the physical stores. And you're still competing with so many people that have online stores. So the moment you overprice your product, the moment you do not plan for your store, the moment you do not plan for your business, then of course you will be pushed out of business. And then I think she said that we should not let the pressure of those who are eating their harvest make us eat our fruit. I think that was also a very important take point or take home from that session. Have I forgotten something? Maybe many things, but yes, that's what I can remember from what Evelyn shared.
Wow. In a nutshell, you've really summarized, and I know Amos also talked about his story, the Wekesa story. Yeah. Interestingly, the other day on TV, I saw Caritas, I think, hosting him. And when he was asked about his story, I remember a statement that he made, that, I have told and told my story, and I am tired of telling it. But it's such an inspirational story that someone who started with nothing actually has a very, very good and huge business. And one thing that he mentioned that was very crucial is to learn to live within your means. You're not impressing anyone because you've started a business, but rather give it time to grow. Don't eat the seed, as you said. Leave it to grow and sustain as well. Do not simply eat all the profit. Pay yourself a salary, be an employee of your own business. And that way, it should really be able to be self-sustaining. So, ladies and gentlemen, would like to hear from you. Would like to know how many people we have tonight with us. If we can take a look at our participants list and see how many we are. We are about 14, and so we should have enough time of interaction, so to say. When I look at this, I see we've had members that we've been with all throughout this journey, and would like to hear their voices. And then also on that very topic that Mary has just reminded us about, do we have any questions? Do we need a clarification on the same? And the questions are amongst ourselves. We can take them on. Yourselves can be able to take them on. You can share your experiences. We can share our own experiences, but we'd like to open it up to each one of us. First and foremost, you can just come off mute, everyone, because we'd like to interact with you. Just say your first name, and then we are very happy to hear your voice, and then we shall be able to proceed. Probably in the order that we see them here, I see we have Anne Mugabe, we have Charlotte. I hope we can use that order. We have Daniel Alheri, we have Erina Mugabe, we have Henry Mugabe, Linda Akoth, Mukiza Norman, Wasike Ben, he's here with us. So in that order, you can just come off mute and say hello to us. And if you have any questions, any contributions, any comments on that very first topic, we are very glad to take it up and probably listen in from you. Yes, we do.
Good evening and good evening to everyone on the call.
Good evening.
Just happy to be here and to do a recap of what has been an amazing month. The lessons have been many. I don't have a question per se on the first week session. But maybe just to add to what you have shared with us, reminded us about talk to us about, she reminded us about the fact that when you do e-commerce, it's not only for products, it's services as well. I think that's something important to remind ourselves, because we tend to think about
Sorry, Anne, I don't know whether, is it your internet that is breaking a little bit?
Basically, you can sell anything on the internet or online. I think that was a good reminder for me that week. And then she also talked about the support system, the people we need to support us as we do those things very critically, who we need to help us get our business going.
Did we lose you, Anne? Unfortunately, we seem to have lost Anne. I hope she can come back sooner. But thank you, Anne, for those interesting reminders of that very first topic and the things that you picked up from that very discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, we remember the order that I just spelled out. Feel free to come off mute. I see Charlotte Turiagenda was just next in line. She could be able to come off mute and say a word or two, or say hello to us. And if she has any comments on that very first topic or any clarifications that she may need on the same. Charlotte? Oh, I see Anne is back. Maybe just shortly before you, Charlotte. Anne, sorry we had lost you. So your network was a little breaking. The last points we hardly had. So may you kindly just echo that which you had mentioned.
Sorry about that. The network is not too good today. Yes, I have mentioned the fact that we need a support system. Evelyn asked us to think critically about the support we need to start our business and to keep it online, maintain it so that it outlives us. So that was basically what I was emphasizing about her presentation in that first week. What do you need to support you as you do your e-commerce business? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anne. And that's a very, very great reminder. Our support system and partners. And I remember something that has been echoed all throughout is the need for partnership and mentorship. People who have worked before us in this kind of area for business, and that they can give us a helping hand.
The sound is not coming through. I can see him speaking, but we can't hear him. I think he has muted his microphone.
I hope you can all be able to get the sound. I was saying that one thing that has come through all the sessions is the need for partnership. You know, having someone to partner with, and also mentors, having mentors, people who have gone before you in the area of not just e-commerce, but business in itself, to work with you and to help you, to tell you the ins and the outs, and help you develop a good plan and strategy and how you can do business generally, has been echoed all throughout the sessions that we've had. And the stories that we've had from each of these great men and women that have thriving businesses online and even if offline, each of them has told us that they've had a partner, they've had a mentor. So that is something that we need to work on ourselves. And with a business which I do with my wife, that is something that we have embarked on. We want to meet these guys who have gone ahead of us and see how they have done it. Personally, I am thinking of building a website because I'm in IT, a website for our business, doing it myself, and also the app. So the moment it is successful, I hope everyone that is here, you will be my clients also, being able to build apps for each one of you. It will be quite interesting. Yeah, so we were calling on Charlotte to see if she had a comment or a question that was coming. We could get to hear from you. Charlotte?
Yes, and just before Charlotte, I remember Mr. Wekesa emphasized that we actually need to get partners who are in the same businesses as us or even better than us. Like, it is always important. And don't be afraid to reach out to people who are doing the same business as you or who inspire you. Usually people are always willing to share information. And I think he shared how he actually got help in that same line. Yes, is Charlotte there? If she's not, then we can hear from Diane. Erina, Henry, I think we just, whoever is ready, just unmute and tell us your name and your question or what you've learned through the series, really. Especially that very first topic.
Hello?
Yes, Linda. Yes, Linda, we can hear you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
This has been a very, very, very informative session about it. I have a question. Is it possible that this question has been answered because there are some questions that I want to take this one? We have spoken about products, physical products, and one of the things that was highlighted was the need to set up, like, properly think through and set up skills in terms of delivery products to your clients. I was wondering, in the case where your products are not necessarily physical, but they are knowledge-based,
We are struggling to hear you, Linda. If you can come closer to your mic, especially on the very last part of the question, it would help us to get you clearly.
Can you hear me now?
That's better. Yeah, that's better.
So my question was, we spoke about products, physical products, and if you're doing an e-commerce business where you are selling a product, it was highlighted that you needed to work out your logistics of how this product gets into the hands of your customers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, in the case where your product is not necessarily physical, it's, let's say the product is knowledge-based or solution-based in terms of a proposal, something like that, the design, if you will. In this case, like what kind of things would someone who's doing this business need to think about as essential while doing e-commerce? Yeah, based on that kind of that nature of business. I don't know if that's clear.
Yeah, that's much, much clearer.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I know that amongst us are brains that can take on that question every well. What would be the considerations, especially if your product is a service? Yeah, if your product is a service, what would be the considerations for doing an online business? If I can try to paraphrase your question and hoping that I've gotten it right. I'm glad that we have Anne in here, and she talked about business plan and strategy. And so she may want to come off mute and actually take on this question. But then I will also want to further say, if you give a service like myself, a service which is IT, I give IT consultancy services, how would I then market myself online? And/or what structures would I need to put in place to ensure that I am getting out there and my business is growing? So I would believe that IT is a product or consultants in itself. Could be a product which is not tangible or physical, but it is rather a service. So from the perspective of laying the foundations and having a business plan and strategy, how would one practically approach that? And tonight we are glad that we have you, so you might take quite a number from each one of us, but then we will also come in to supplement as and when we possibly can. And also the members from in our attendance tonight, please feel free to take a question where you are an authority. I will be very glad to hear from you. So that is one question. If there is any other question that could be related or just on topic one, we could take it and then ask Anne to come on thereafter.
Yeah, that's right. And services are also products in their own way. Mm-hmm. Only that they are not tangible. They are not tangible.
Yeah.
So is Anne ready? I am waiting for Anne to get ready. So the way we think about our products, the way we think about planning to set them on the market is always still plan for a service. So if it's a consultancy, if you write business proposals, for example, mm-hmm. What does that entail? What do you do for me? Do you meet me and understand what my requirements are? Do you then give me a concept that I need to agree to? Do you then write a first draft, a second draft? Do you do the budgeting? Do you even look for funders for my proposal, if that is the case? I think for services, it's about breaking down exactly what you do and then advertising it, yeah? And then being very clear about your payment terms. Because the difference between the services and the products is that if somebody has, for example, received an email from you of a proposal that you have done, they sort of have everything. So that your payment plan has to be very clear that this is paid at maybe inception, and this is paid at this point, and this is paid before I deliver this. Because of course with e-commerce there are so many issues to do with trust and to do with actually getting paid for what you have done. But we'll wait for Anne to take that, and we can meanwhile get other questions. So the logistics, I think, Yes, Anne. Good, Anne. You're welcome. I was waiting for you to unmute.
Okay, thank you. Leader, thank you for that question. You pretty covered it. In essence, the planning shouldn't be very different for a service from a product in terms of the business plan. The contents of the business plan are still going to be more or less the same, but you actually pointed out a critical part of it where how does this then get to the end consumer? And as I was listening to the question and also listening to you, I think for services, all our businesses require legal services, but I think when it comes to services, you tend to have the need for more legal involvement because now the contract looks different. Like you said, if how do I get my payment? Because this is not tangible. It's nothing like I have brought a pair of shoes and when they're in front of you, if you like them, you give me the money and I go away. You have to charge for your hours that you have put into developing this product for the person. For example, if you're selling them consultancy, you have to bill for the hours you have spent thinking. You're basically billing for your intellectual time put into it, the hours you've sat at a computer. You have to work out all those things. But then at the end of the day, how do you ensure that this person pays for them? You're going to need the help of a lawyer or some kind of legal services so that you have a well drawn out contract with clear payment terms so that whoever engages you knows that their payment milestones at particular points, and if they don't fulfill their part of the bargain, then that's where the work stops. So for example, like at work, we buy a lot of IT consultancy services, and so we have those contracts where we say we'll pay 10% at the beginning and maybe 30% in the middle, and so we break it down that way. But to cut the story short, you need the help of a legal person. We also need the same marketing that you will need for a product. The marketing might take a different form. I know that depending on what your service is, some things you would make use of events, for example, or mentions at webinars like this. You make use of influencers, social media influencers, so that maybe you get them to talk about you whenever they are out there doing whatever they do as social media influencers. So you could make use of those people. For example, I have seen many of my friends getting their businesses promoted at Rotary events, at such kind of events. So your marketing will look slightly different, but you still have to do the marketing. We can still use WhatsApp and Facebook to get the word out there that we do this service. Referrals are also important. Whether you're doing products or services, you can't. You have to. Referrals are a very good way of building your customer base. So the first contract or the first piece of work you do, if you do it very well, there is a satisfied customer who will spread the word. A lot of businesses get that jump start from word of mouth referrals. So let's not underlook them. That first bit of work that you do for someone, they'll go and talk about it, and before you know it, other people will be coming to you for your service. But the bottom line is that the principles are the same. You just have to tweak here and there to suit the fact that your customer is not going to have a tangible product to feel and touch and look at up front. Jonathan talked about IT consultancies. There are things called proof of concept. Sometimes you will have to do a proof of concept, to do a mini demonstration. If it's an IT or a software program, you could leverage doing a demonstration to your potential customers and then get them curious when they see a bit of the functionality. Being careful not to show them the whole product, but you can show them a bit of it. These days, even things like YouTube and TikTok are useful. Basically, the options are limitless. We just have to be creative, and as where we are challenged, the collaboration is the new competition. Let's not try and do everything on our own. There are people who this is their forte. They know how to do marketing and they know how to do digital marketing. And yeah, let's leverage our networks and get our friends who are good at doing these things to help us. So that's part of partnership as well. I hope I've thrown some light on the question.
Yes, you definitely have. If Linda is listening in, she can say if she still has a question on the same, or if her question has been answered. But it's also important to set a standard for the services that you offer, because that is what will actually bring people back to you. And so part of the planning is to plan what standard will you actually offer for the services that you are giving. So when somebody comes to Mary, they know that if it is Mary that is planning maybe this event, or if it is Mary that is doing this consultancy, she will do it well, and she will follow this particular way of getting it done. Yeah. So we will take other questions and comments. And yes, did you read that, Jonah?
Yeah, there is something here on the chat. Anne already talked about it and she reminded us, so I will not read out what she wrote on the chat. But Yusuf Semakula says, "Hi everyone, it's Yusuf at Volcano Gas. We really appreciate the efforts from this platform, helping out the entrepreneurs. Great works, thank you." Yeah, thank you Yusuf for that great comment. And I know I've interacted with you. I need to meet you actually so that we can further our business in the gas area.
Collaboration.
Yeah, that collaboration. Yeah, so Yusuf, actually it would be very good to hear from you. Yusuf actually does gas, and we buy gas from him. We are dealers. Is he the main dealer, and then we also pick from him or something like that, and then we also retail it. So Yusuf, would also love to hear your story. It would be good because you're doing a great business right there. We do not know whether it is online or you plan to put it online. Some of those ideas and thoughts that you have, you can bounce them off us here, and we get to know how you're progressing and the far that you have gone. How did you make it? Because I realized that all the people that we've invited here, each of them has had a story. And from their stories, we have learned quite a lot. And yours is unique. It is none of those that were discussed here. So it would be good to have you coming on. Oh, Yusuf, unfortunately, I see he has gone off, but probably he's coming back on. But we continue learning. And Linda here says, "Thank you, that was very helpful." So the response, Anne, we believe was spot on, that you gave to Anne's question. So friends, do we have other contributions or comments on that topic or any other topic?
Yes, I think take us through the next two topics, Jonathan.
Well, the next topic that time was e-commerce business plans and strategy. And do I feel qualified to talk about this when the facilitator for that particular topic is right in the house? But
what did you pick from there?
I remember when I did a recap for her session on the very third one, I picked out two important things. On the business plan, we are targeting who our customer is and what it is that we are putting out. And on the strategy, we are looking at how are we achieving this, or when are we achieving it. Those were two things that came up very, very clearly in coming up with a business plan. Know what your vision and goals are, know who your customers or your target market is, and get to know what your competition could be like, your strengths, your weaknesses, any opportunities that you could have, and any threats, and get to know more about your industry that you're getting into, whether it is a product or a service that you're going to be offering, and then who is it that you're going to work with? Do you have any human resources, people you're going to employ, or persons that you're going to work with, those partners that we've been talking about? That is to do with the business plan. Of course, there are very, very several ingredients therein. It was really fully packed, and so I may not elucidate on everything. And then when it came to the strategy, how to create a business strategy, it's like a roadmap. What is the roadmap? From this point, what next am I going to achieve? Okay? If I've thought of the idea, I'm going to be a seller of charcoal. So then what? Where am I getting it from? After I've gotten it and I've put it on my store, where will I, how do I want to market it? What is the roadmap, so to say? And what is my plan like? Operations or logistics? What do I need to get these things moving? And do I have a marketing plan? It is charcoal, it is in Chanja. So if it is in Chanja and I want to sell it to Mary, who is in Chiwatule, how do I market it to her that she will actually skip all the people in Chiwatule, all the charcoal suppliers in Chiwatule? I'm using that example because we may look at some businesses and we're like, we can never take them online. Actually want to take charcoal online and see these cooking fuels, how do we put them online? How do I market it to her? And she will come for mine and not any other person close to her. And if now I want to go online, what is my technology plan? Or how do I plan to also finance my entire business? And of course, the possible risks for every other venture that you get into. So do I have a risk management plan? In a nutshell, I could summarize that topic just like that. And I hope that Anne will be able to clap for me for doing a good job and remembering the things that she talked about. And that, I believe, is very, very crucial for us in order to do a successful e-commerce business or any other business, so to say. And probably we could ask if there are any questions on that or any comments that the members could have. We take them on before we forget the overview that we just gave before we get into topic 3. Any ideas coming out from the members, or we are all comfortable that way? And the recap or the reminder is good enough for us. I don't know whether we're able to share out this presentation with the members.
I remember I received it. I hope everybody did.
Yeah, members, if you never received this, please
share your email.
let us know.
Actually, we'll use the mailing list.
Yeah, we will check with the administrators to see whether this was also shared with each one of you. Henry, do you want to come off mute and tell us something about that, or even just saying hello? We'll be glad to know that you're here with us.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here and to belong to this family. First of all, greetings from the Queen.
Greetings to her as well. Thank you. We receive them.
How are you and how is everyone? Thanks for the good moderation of this webinar. You and your co-host.
Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you, Henry.
Yeah, I'm really very pleased to be part of this and happy for Victor and the entire team. This has been eye-opening, and indeed, I believe we are heading as a team in the right direction. I wanted to ask a question at the end, but you poked me.
Okay.
However, I'll
still ask that you carry on. I'll come in with my question right as we get to the conclusion of this webinar this evening. Thank you so much. Everything is perfect. I'm loving it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Henry, for those wonderful compliments. Yeah, so members, just moving on quickly, we went for session 3, and this we looked at how to build, launch, and grow a profitable online store. We had Mr. Frank Bushuyu of Akatale Fresh, and we also had Madame Juliet Tumuzoire, who talked about digital payment systems. And that in itself generated a lot of debate. How do I choose a payment processor?
Yeah.
You know, we talked about PayPal, we talked about security in these payment systems. She and Frank looked at the different merchants who, no, something that she emphasized, Juliet, if I recall, is how do I deliver on my promise as a merchant? And that was very, very crucial. You say that you're offering maybe fresh vegetables, and then I put in an order, but you're failing to deliver the vegetables to me, and yet you say that you do delivery. So your promise as a merchant was very, very crucial in that topic. And then, of course, getting to know those different payment systems. I remember myself was grappling with the question of how do I get to engage any of these payment processors? Was it you, Mary, or it was Juliet, who talked about Uganda being able to come up with its own payment gateways? We are yet to know how far that has gone. Or do you have information about the same?
When we are talking about the current policies.
Okay, so that will come in the topic of November. Yes, but I hope that can come sooner than later so that it can benefit us as Ugandans. We do not have to use PayPal, especially if we are targeting the local market. But of course, with e-commerce, it is business beyond borders. But of course, depending on the kind of products you're offering, you might be offering tomatoes and vegetables. We may probably not want to push them beyond the borders.
But the person paying you could be in the US
buying
tomatoes for their family. So they should be able to make an order and pay you when you deliver.
Interesting. So all these payment systems that are international and local, then we need to learn more about them. And one thing that we are hoping, and I know Pastor Victor at the end will come on to tell us the next steps. We want to see possibilities of us engaging more on some of these where we did not get enough time to interact with the facilitators. How do I get to know more about these payment gateways and the payment processing? As an example, are we able to meet with these guys who talked about these things and are actually subject matter experts in these areas to teach us better and then be able to launch out better? That was on topic 3. And the last topic, I know, Mary, you are very, very excited about it, where we had Ricky and Daniel.
And Daniel.
Yes, I don't know whether I would like to take us through that recap quickly, because by 7:30 we will be closing. But before we do that, we'll have Pastor Victor coming on to take us on the next steps. What next after here? So we'll be glad to hear from him. Mary, please. Give us a recap of that
thank
session.
you. On building the online store, when
Yes.
Juliet was talking about payment systems, she talked a lot about our role as the merchants and a lot about building trust in our clients. I remember she said that as a merchant, you cannot afford to run out of stock. She said our delivery promises are very crucial. What do you promise your client? Is it delivery in 1 hour? Is it delivery in 2 hours? And as you said, is it fresh vegetables? What's your promise? And it should be, it should be fulfilled.
Yes.
And then she also, I don't remember if it was her or the gentleman of Akatale Fresh, told us it is important in this e-commerce business to care about all the different stages. Think about, as you plan, what do you need to care about? If it's the delivery, of course, you need to care about the time and the person delivering and who they are. You know, I don't want to receive a product and a person who has delivered it, my friend, or the way it is actually packaged, or the time it actually takes to get to me. So, for each of the different stages, what do you have to care about as a merchant or as somebody who is selling a product? And then, how secure is your payment process? Have you secured it enough? Are you very sure the money that is coming is actually coming to you? If you're using your online platform, for example, have you secured it so that your money does not end up with other people? And of course, Frank took us through his whole experience of how he's doing his vegetables, how he's getting his clients, and how he has been able to actually. How many clients did he hit during COVID? 1,000?
I can't recall.
Yeah,
very
but
well.
they were quite a number. Now the next session we had with Thomas and
Ricky.
with Ricky and Daniel was on how to launch a profitable online business store. And basically, for this, we had people who were in the business. Ricky started Safe Border, and he told us about what inspired him. And for me, at the back of my mind, I kept thinking, for whatever businesses we do, we must have something that inspires us. What problem are we trying to solve? And are we actually offering a solution? Because then that keeps at the back of our minds and keeps inspiring us to get better. So for Ricky's story, the reason I was really inspired is because I know how the border business is.
Yeah.
Me being able to actually trust a border is like a miracle. Actually, Safe Border ranks very high on my favorite apps list, because I mean, for once in my life, I will call a border, give them my things, and I trust they will arrive, and they will not start telling me stories of Nae Madam Nyabo, now the figure has changed because it rained. You know, it is seamless. And for me, the thing about thinking of a problem and developing a local solution to it using internet and using the available channels is what was very key in Ricky's presentation. And then now he has been able to overcome his competition. Yeah, competition is not necessarily bad. Sometimes it just propels us forward. But it's about the way we deal with it. I mean, stay in your lane, do your thing, solve your problem. You will not, of course, take all the businesses there in the world. So I think focusing on solving the problem that you are set to solve, for me, was a very also a big take home from Ricky. And then hiring the right people to build his online store, because I think he told us about how he got issues with the first version and the second, and finally the version that we have now. So getting good people to actually design for your store, to actually design your website if you're going to have one. So that when somebody uses your application or goes online, they don't find challenges, because as I said at the beginning, it's still a competition. The physical stores are still there. The online stores are several. Why would somebody come back to use your services? Yeah. Do you want to tell us about Daniel?
Please just go ahead.
I don't want to talk a lot, Jonathan, when you're here. So Daniel told us about his Tenge company, and he had very interesting stories. I think he was studying theology or something.
At African Bible.
He was at an African Bible college, and anyway, he ended up there. He told us at a particular time when he started his business, he got, I think, 10,000 orders, and he had to shut down and replan. The thing about planning from the beginning, what if, for example, your orders are many? And actually, Juliet mentioned it at some point and said, as a merchant, you can never run out of stock. In this particular presentation, Daniel was actually giving a service, but he was overwhelmed with a number of requests for service. Yeah, he told us that customers are not the key to success, actually, as people always say. But what you have to offer and what your product actually is will keep bringing people back to you. He emphasized the role of resilience. We should, sometimes it can all be painted rosy and nice, and nobody talks about the ups and downs. But we must be, even in the online business, we must be ready to be resilient. It might not work this year or next year, but surely the third year it will work. As long as you keep being good at what you're doing and doing it right, and you have a plan of what you're actually working on. And then she talked about partners, and he says it was very important that we have partners. And he says it's actually good to have partners as you start, because it's easier to make mistakes at a small scale, because they are easier to fix. Because see, when your company has grown, and then it's when you're looking for partners, if any of them is a dupe, as we say these days, then it will be a problem. So have partners as you start, study them, see how it goes, and feel free to let it go when actually it doesn't work, and get other partners. And then he says it's okay to fail fast, but as long as you fail forward, like you don't fail backward. And what was amazing was the amount of money that he was earning. I think that's what wanted me to make me leave my civil service job, where they pay us, just enough money to take us to work. That's what I can remember from Daniel's presentation, Jonah.
Thank you, Mary, for that good recap. And one other thing that he mentioned, or the two brought out, is adverts. It's important to put your business out there. And Anne just talked about it as well, using the different social media platforms and running adverts as much as you can, so that your business it gets to be known. So in a nutshell, that is what we covered in the month of September. And we hope that in the month of November, we'll cover our very last topic and be able to wrap it all up so very well.
Jonathan, I myself spoke at one of them. I don't remember which one, but I know that I talked about the regional markets that we have. As we do our plan, as we think about getting online, we should not limit ourselves. E-commerce makes our market global. Like our local market is as local as the UK. Like UK can be a local market. Nairobi can be a local market. So I remember sharing about what we have in the East African community, what we have in the African the African continental area, the free trade areas that we have, the COMESA, and how much actually our products are looked at as local products when they go to those countries, because we have signed particular trade agreements with them. So even as we think about e-commerce, we need to know that there are already opportunities that are available to us in the East African community, in the COMESA, the countries which are in the COMESA, in the countries which are now in the ACFTA. And those are already markets where our goods at least are import duty free.
Thank you for that reminder as well. And I can say you're subject matter expert because you work with trade.
I mean IT.
IT for trade. So we are glad to have you on board as well. So I was saying that the last topic, which will be about those national policies, as I had mentioned earlier, would like to take a look at it in November. And it will be an online session as well. So we will, at this very point in time, unless there is a question or a comment about the topics that we just reminded you about from our participants, we will invite Pastor Victor to give us the next steps. But before he does come on, would like to give an opportunity to any of the participants, if you want to give a comment, one or two, to kindly do so before we invite Pastor Victor. Any?
Hello.
Hi, Henry.
Thank you. I can come in at this point.
All right.
I really appreciate the work that you have done. I also want to thank my wife, Anne, for the presentation that she did. I've been able to attend two sessions. The session that she made a presentation, and this very session that we are in right now. I would like to thank her for the wonderful presentation that she did. And I would also want to thank each one of you for the good work that you have really put in this. I would like to make just a comment that should, I think, open our eyes, and something that Mary has been talking about. And I want to look at the numbers. As we speak today, Uganda is about 45 million in population. East Africa is combined, is over 540 million. And the entire Africa is 1.25 billion. And it is projected that the e-commerce market only in Africa by 2025 is going to be about $75 billion. With that little insight with the numbers, we also know that the brick and mortar retail shops are really going to die out, or actually dying out. And therefore, now that we are in the need of this thing, that we are all looking at e-commerce, what is our next move to capture into this very big, huge market? First, starting with the 45 that is within our reach, the 45 million, and then go regional into the 540 million plus for East Africa. We are, for the poor countries, Uganda, Kenya, TZ, using the same passport as we speak of now, and I think even Rwanda, I'm not quite sure about that. That is a 540 million market for us. And then we are IT people, we are talking IT. This means that we are open to the $75 billion for the African market. And if we take it to the globe, and we are able to find products that we can sell on the global market, the sky is the limit. So now that we have put the light, we have uncovered the light through this webinar. And this goes to all of us, what's our next move to make sure that we don't keep on to the brick and mortar kind of doing business? How do we open and tap into this huge market? Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Henry, for the statistics that you have provided and the futuristic thinking that you have. And you have given us a good question with a challenge on what is the next move. And we are glad that we had that on plan. And Pastor Victor needs to guide us on the plan. It is not that he's answering the question entirely, but as Michigan, what are those little steps that we can take to tap into the $75 billion? Pastor Victor, you're welcome. Thank you.
Wow. What a great day. It's a beginning, but it's also a time to wrap up the first session. I want to give thanks to God for this wonderful day. for what God has taken us throughout the whole month of September and part of October. I would like to give thanks to God. And secondly, I would like to thank God so much for our speakers who set aside time to speak to us. They did their research, lots of experiences they shared with us, and we've learned quite a lot. And I want to thank God for our brother, Mr. Amos Wekesa, who spoke to us on the first day, and our sister Evelyn from Kenya. We want to thank God for her. We also had our sister Anne Mugabe. We bless the Lord for you. We also want to thank God for our sister Juliet, our brother Daniel Mitchell, our brother Ricky Rapper, and we just give thanks to God. And I cannot forget our moderators, my brother Jonathan Guaita and Sister Mary Mesije. These people have worked tirelessly from the beginning, the planning stage. We've been going back and forth, thinking, consulting, and they've been coming here to ensure that this goes on well. And I would really want us to give a big thumbs up for them. They have done a commendable job. We may not know what goes behind the scene, but they have been very diligent and they have done a superb job. Without them, I don't think we would have succeeded up to today. And may the Lord bless you so much. I also want to thank God for the technical team who are working behind the scene to ensure things are working on. Yes, we're struggling with the internet networks within the country, but we are able to do at least what we have done. And this is by the grace of God. So we thank God for you and also our listeners who have been consistent. We were to have this webinar last week, but we couldn't. And I believe we are going to do much more in the days ahead. As has been mentioned by brother and our moderator, Jonathan, we are going to have another webinar in the month of November where we are going to be talking about the national policies on e-commerce, the legal aspects. What is it that is happening? Are we just jumping into things that we are not aware of? And so it's going to highlight a number of things on trade, on shipment, and different components of policies that the government has put in place, and also the future things that are in place. What are the incentives that are coming so that we do business from an informed point? And that is why Mishkan is here to help us. Mishkan as a ministry is so passionate about the marketplace. And I would like to let you know that from the beginning, it has been the church at the forefront of revolution, forefront of innovation, forefront of education, health, name it. It has been from the church. And we cannot allow ourselves to be taken over by the world. We've got the best brains in the nations. They all come from the church. All these people that have been ministering to us are from the body of Christ. And therefore we are so rich. We have a great resource that we need to tap in and tap from as a nation. And I want to thank God. We have a lot of resource, even where e-commerce is concerned. We cannot exhaust. A number of our brothers and sisters are employed outside there with great companies. Amen. And they are serving different nations. It's a great pool that Africa can tap. Africa as a continent, and Uganda as a nation can tap into to see how do we build up what we have as a nation. And I want to thank God for our brother Henry, who is in the diaspora. He's not only focused there, but together with his beautiful, wonderful wife Anne, they are working on something. They have been doing something. They are investing back into the country to see that we move to the next level as a nation. I believe Uganda has a great potential. And e-commerce is wide. There are many opportunities. Schools, medical, all the services that we see, everything has migrated online. And I gave this example in our opening day, and I said, it is good to have a supermarket. Let's say, for example, within Tinda area, Tinda is in Kampala area, hallelujah. You can have the biggest supermarket, but you're only going to sell to that village. But if you look at the amount of money you're going to invest to start the business running, maintain is going to be a lot of money. Someone just puts up a business online and you're able to sell to the whole world. You can make more money. We've been listening to testimonies of our speakers. People making millions of dollars as turnovers. Young people, it is possible. It is possible. It is possible. Our burden as Mishkan, as a ministry, is to empower the believers, empower our people, empower the church. We need to rise up. We cannot be crying for money. We have a lot of intellectual, we call it what? Intellectual what? Resource as a nation. We need to put that in place. And therefore, this webinar series was just the beginning of a number of webinars that are going to come in. And we are building our profile, we are building our networks. We are going to have different speakers all over Africa, all over the world. We shall be inviting, we want to form a big network. That's this journey to do from here. By the time the year ends, we need to be having something that we are doing online, because the brick and mortar, we have shifted from brick and mortar and we have gone online. So there is no way about it. You must learn it, and the church. And lastly, we were thinking as a team that we need to call in all our speakers in one setting, one gathering. Of course, we'll have to observe SOPs and all that. We'd like to have, how do we tap into this great resource? And we are consulting. Pray for us. We are consulting. Even as we move that, at least we have begun. We have challenges with the internet technology. That is where we are. That's the environment we are working with. But we shall get over that. And I know God is with us. And so I'm praying for you that God will give you witty inventions and ideas that we can do the job. May the Lord himself reward you. The time you spared every week throughout for a whole month, you lay down your life so that the nation can learn from the best. And you've done your work with utmost dedication and commitment, and it has been excellent. I want us to give a thumbs up to these friends of ours and even all our speakers for you as we conclude. We want to compete effectively with the rest of the world, but there are still challenges. A lot of digital divide. There are lots of challenges, but we are grateful that we have begun. And the resources that you've given us will be able to utilize effectively to compete. Our prayer is that as the body of Christ, we shall arise to be able to tap into this great resource. We thank you for those who have participated, those who have begun, those whose businesses are soaring even amidst the challenges. I pray and I speak a blessing over them. Believe